So probably in my case, the best solution, if you would like to really resolve this matter, bad service, monopoly, etc., is to open our economy to competitors. China did that. China did that. That's the reason why China is now very powerful. But despite the fact that China allowed foreign competition, in fact, some of the most effective strategies of China in order to attract foreign investors is they lowered taxes. They even deregulated. Despite the fact that they keep and maintain the Communist Party or the communist structure of the government, they made their economy so economically freer than the Philippines. And as Deng Xiaoping said, Deng Xiaoping, okay, the father of minimal or limited free market in China, his idol is Lee Kuan Yew. Right? You need to probably check on all of this. You don't just take my words for it, okay? Lee Kuan Yew, when he visited Singapore, okay, Lee Kuan Yew is the leader of the Communist Party, is a premier of Communist Party more than 20 years ago, all right? Before his time, China was still like totally communist, okay? Everything is owned by the government. And during Lee Kuan Yew's time, when he visited Singapore, he realized that, why is it that Singapore is so rich and prosperous? It just gained its liberty or independence from Malaysia, and then he realized that Singapore opened its economy to the world. And in an interview, Lee Kuan Yew, I think it's Charlie Ross interview, if I'm not mistaken, Lee Kuan Yew said that, the question by Charlie Ross was, what's your secret? Why the heck you became, or Singapore became so prosperous? And Lee Kuan Yew said, we owe our progress to United States. United States, we opened our country to the world. He specifically mentioned United States of America, and he even said that Singapore's immigration policy is patterned with America's immigration policy. That in America, unlike that what they have today in America, before immigrants, the immigration policy was based on merit, okay, to attract the best of the best, and that's what Lee Kuan Yew envisioned, okay, and he said we became prosperous country because we strive to be relevant to the world, and by relevant, they attracted businesses. How they did that? They opened their economy to investors. They lessen taxes. In fact, they don't have capital gains tax. Capital gains tax is the tax that most of the investors or all of the investors are paying to the government. So the quid pro quo is that, okay, if a billionaire is going to invest in Singapore, for example, the quid pro quo is he's not going to pay capital gains tax, and that's the reason why Mr. Saverin, Eduardo Saverin, I think is his name, one of Facebook original owners, the first investors of Facebook, migrated and became citizen of Singapore because of capital gains tax. Singapore does not have capital gains tax. So the quid pro quo, according to Lee Kuan Yew and his son, who's now the Prime Minister of Singapore, is that, okay, there is coefficient theory, actually. I forget the term, but okay, we're gonna attract the rich of the rich in the world, the investors, the great minds. They're not gonna pay capital gains tax. They're gonna be free to invest. They're gonna be free to do business. Less regulations, unlike in the Philippines. the quid pro quo is that they're going to provide a lot of jobs and opportunities, despite the fact that these rich people are not going to pay taxes. The government of Singapore are going to get some other taxes from income taxes from all of these employees created by these rich people, by these investors, right? That's the reason why I always believe that flat tax coupled with less regulations, better or efficient market, less regulatory environment is going to low flat tax, like what Russia did. Okay, it went from 15 to 12%, if I'm not mistaken. I think it from 30 plus to 15% to 12% in Russia. There were a lot of economies, socialist economies and state economies who were like attacking Vladimir Putin. That was in 2000 or 1998. Yeah, during around those times. I studied all this actually. And Russia implemented a flat tax, 15 to 12%, if I'm not mistaken, but it's around those figures. Right, and Russia was attacked and was criticized by a lot of economic experts, okay, all over the world. But then after a couple of years, but Russia did not just lower, the tax rate paid by businesses and individuals. Actually, they also deregulated, coupled with deregulation. So you cannot just lower taxes and keep your regulatory climate so high and disastrous to business. That's not going to be good. All right, so lowering of taxes or flat taxation should be coupled with deregulation, less red tape, better economic climate, more freedom, etc. If you're going to do that like Russia did, instead of getting minimal or low tax revenue, Russia instead got higher tax revenue collection. All right. So going back to Mr. Duterte's threat against telecommunication, I'm gonna close all of you and sequester your company or nationalize all your companies. I mean, who the hell this guy think he is? Who do you think you are? Who the hell do you think you are, Mr. Duterte? He thinks that he's so good to run an economy when he couldn't even run our country better during this pandemic, right? Sometimes being a demagogue could make you a narcissist, and that's Mr. Duterte.
And we revert back to the line telephone. At kukunin ko yan, i-expropriate ko sa gobyerno.
Really? He said expropriate.
I'll be strict. Smart. Pati itong globe, ilang taon na ito. At ang sagot palagi sa akin, Duterte cannot be rich. Saan pa na pumunta yung yawa na yun?
Kwentong barbero, right?
Kung gano'n lang naman ibigay ninyo sa amin, we are a republic, a sovereign country.
Well, that doesn't mean that you can do everything you want. We are a republic, not ruled by one man like you. Right? A republic is ruled by the rule of law. Okay, that's what republicanism means. Rule of law and not rule of the few political dynasties in this country, Mr. President Duterte. You cannot just throw these terms out and then expect your fanatics to believe you, right? So a republic, if you can keep it, I think that's what one of the founding fathers of the U.S., I forgot, right? So, yeah, a republic if you can keep it. That's the reason why the American founding fathers chose to have republican system than democracy. Okay, because democracy is mob rule, and they understood that history told them that no nation survived with democracy of mob rule. So that's the reason why there must be an objective rule of law.